Hi, I'm Mr. Plant Geek. Today we're going to plant up a waterless container for indoors. So it's going to be full of succulents. And succulents hold on to lots of their own moisture. That's why they've got big, fleshy leaves. So this will need minimal watering, minimal maintenance as well. This will be the easiest container you've ever grown. And I'm going to put it in this gorgeous little slate container, which I think would fit very nicely onto a coffee table as well. Let's get planting. So let's look at our gorgeous sweet shop of succulents that we're going to include today. First up, a succulent-like bulb, which is called Albuca spiralis. Now this is gorgeous. Look at that corkscrew foliage. Have you ever seen a plant like this before? But it surprises you. In the winter, it has a flower just like a daffodil. Not too big, probably about ½ inch across, but with the most powerful of fragrances. So I'm going to use that at the back of my container. Really cool. Next up, we've got Avonia, papyracea. Now this is amazing because look, it almost looks like little tiny skyscrapers. Now succulents are really cool because they're so collectible. They're great for kids, but also for adults as well. Now this actually is coming up to flower, and this flower is like a tiny little daisy and only lasts 2 hours as well, but you will get a whole load of them on your plants as well when they're happy. Really slow growing, likes a free draining soil and doesn't want too much water. We love that. Next we've got some of these living stone-like plants. This is called Pleiospilos nelii. Now look, it's a mimicry plant, so it's trying to look like a random stone. That's what keeps it protected from predators. But also it lets the light in, has a flower once a year as well, which is a really cool little daisy. And again, originates from South Africa in those dry conditions. Perfect for our waterless container. Then finally, my favorite of all, and I've been growing these from seed ever since I was a kid. I'd recommend that to you as well. These are called Lithops, also known as living stones. They're basically camouflaged. They're so camouflaged that there's even ones in the wild that haven't been discovered yet. No one's found them. But look, it's got this solar panel on the top that lets light in. Once a year, you get a gorgeous daisy flower, similar to the last plant, and it's really, really easy and doesn't need much water either because, of course, it stores it all in those big swollen leaves. So the type of soil you need is a good cactus and succulent peat-free mixture, and this has got extra drainage. It's a very dry mixture as well because, of course, cacti and succulents need excellent drainage at all times. So we're going to start to fill our container with that lovely cacti and succulent soil that we've got from Perrywood Garden Centre in Essex. So the first plant we're going to plant into our little container here is the Albuca. Now this tends to grow more readily in the winter months, so it will need a little bit more moisture in the winter, whereas our other little friends here like to be a bit drier in the winter. So to do that, I'm going to plant it in a different corner of the container and just make sure that I accommodate its requirements. So we're going to ease that out of the container. Excellent root system. If you like to, you can always tease out the roots a little bit just to make sure that they grow into the soil around and not keep going around, around, around. So I'm going to dig a careful hole in the corner and ease in my Albuca spiralis. Oh, one of my favourite plants. Just going to fill in with that soil around, and then we're ready for our next plant, which is going to be this Avonia. Now the Avonia has got that really, really cool shape. I think that's going to look great next to the Albuca. The idea of succulents in a garden like this is to get all of those different colours, different textures. Really, really fun way to grow plants. And you almost look at them and think, oh, are they real? But they are, very much so. So we're going to just ease that in, fill around the plants with that compost, and then make a hole for our final plant here, which is the Pleiospilos, but then I'm going to use these Lithops just to dot around the front a little bit. So we've got our Pleiospilos. We're going to ease that out of the pot. It's in a good gritty compost here. You could either split those up individually or keep them as one, but I don't want to run the risk of damaging any of the root system, so I'm going to plant that as the plant that it is. Easing that in towards the back. Oh, that looks so cool. And filling in all of those gaps with compost as well. Be really careful. You don't want to leave any gaps for moisture to collect as well, which could cause rotting, so make sure that everything is firm down, and also pays to bash your pot a couple of times as well. Okay, let's grab those living stones and see what's happening in the pot. I'm hoping that I can divide these up at least into a few parts so that I can, so you see Got loads of those little baby seedlings here. Just taking a little chunk of those. I'm going to plant those towards the front of my Pleiospilos. So here we go. Oh, that looks cool already. Then take another little chunk, because these are all individual little plants in here, so you should be able to just divide up into segments, because these are only little seedlings. Here we go, another little portion, like a little portion of pizza. So in time, these succulents are going to grow, so you might need to then repot or repurpose as well. Always a good idea to do that in the spring. And then we're going to finish off with a bit of gravel. Okay, so my container is planted up successfully. Everything's tampered down, brush off the sides, and then I don't always like the look of bare soil. I want to make this look even more like it's in the wild. So I'm actually going to use this decorative silvery gravel just to cover all of the soil surface. So I'm going to be really careful. Okay, last little piece of the gravel to go in. You can see how these living stones like to mimic stones in the wild as well. You can actually have fun sometimes matching them to different stone colours and seeing if your guests can notice the difference. Can they spot the plants? So here we go. There's our finished container. Everything looking good. We've got our Albuca at the back. Hopefully that'll flower soon. We've got our Avonia here. We've got our Pleiospilos, and we've got the Lithops dotted all around. So keep an eye on those. They might get a little bit bigger in a year or so, so you might need to replant some of the container, but don't be shy to do that. Just make sure you do it at the right time of year. But this is pretty cool as an instant display, showing all of those different textures and colors that you get with succulents. And the best bit, this is waterless, so you only need to water this the bare minimum at any one time. So just keep an eye on the plants and water something like once every 6 to 8 weeks. But even then, only a few little raindrops as well. This is a really self-sufficient, cool succulent container. Love it.